Site in the 18th century, it was the merchant navy that helped Britannia rule the waves, its vessels opening up trade between Britain and the Far East. But commerce wasn't the only part it played in our history. The service also suffered heavy casualties during both World Wars. Well, today Merchant Navy veterans have been to their most famous ship, the Cutty Sark, for a special event to commemorate the sacrifices made at sea. Leah Chatterjee went to meet them.
Seafarers watched as their professional history was hoisted onto one of the world's most famous ships. And very quickly, the memories breathed on board too.
Where did you spend most of your time?
Pacific, Atlantic.
No, what company?
Oh, very company.
I just wrote to Cockleback's girlfriend. No, I'm the girlfriend.
Never.
From any angle, there's grace in every line of the Ocean Queen, who very soon perhaps will make and break new transatlantic records.
RMS Queen Elizabeth first entered service in World War II, transporting troops around the world. Her high speeds meant she could outrun German U-boats. Now her service, along with 5 other vessels, is being acknowledged on a Royal Mail stamp, each with their own separate tales of war and global import and export. Mike Mackay worked as a certified deck officer during the 1960s. His father had worked as a mariner 4 decades earlier.
I can remember basically as the first ship I joined, being stuck in a carriage just after midnight with loads of Marines and sailors, and there was I in my little brand new cadet uniform, and they scared the living daylights out of me.
Holly Burton came today for her grandfather and great-grandfather.
I was very close to my granddad as a young child, and he would often tell me stories about what it was like travelling on the ships. So he'd get maps and explain where he'd been in the world, point out the Suez Canal, going to places such as South America.
Many of the veterans I've spoken to say they feel the Merchant Navy is often overlooked by the British public, that we underestimate the role it played in history and, of course, the present day. They hope this collection of stamps will get people thinking about an industry that so many dedicated their lives to.
The contribution they made to the economic history of this country. It's fantastic. You know, it's what made Britain great. I give 3 hoorays for the Royal Mail bringing this celebration of British merchant shipping out into the open.
And I'm sure your father would have agreed with you.
He would have been very, very proud. He would have been extremely proud, that's right.
The stamps fly as 7-foot flags, accessorising an icon of maritime history. Leah Chatterjee, ITN News, Greenwich.
Absolutely beautiful. That is all from the London team. We're back with the latest after ITN News at 10.